God calls ordinary people to do extraordinary things so that He might receive glory. When has God challenged you to do something out of your comfort zone? Who served as a helpful partner during that time? Israel lived comfortably in peace after Ehud's triumph over Moab in Judges 3. Then they were forced into survival mode by Canaanite troops. Cities previously destroyed by Joshua had been rebuilt as the Canaanites grew stronger. People previously conquered by the Israelites now ruled and demanded tribute. Deborah stood to speak for God during challenging times. Which brings us to our key verse for today, which reads, "Very well," she replied, "I will go with you, but you will receive no honor in this venture, for the Lord's victory over Sisera will be at the hands of a woman." So Deborah went with Barak to Kadesh. Judges chapter 4, verse 9. For 20 years, Sisera mightily oppressed the children of Israel. We see the reaction that will become a dominant theme of the book of Judges. The children of Israel cried unto the Lord. Note that the reason for the Israelites' mighty cry was the enemy's might, which was grounded in technological superiority. However, their power was not due to their technology, but the fact that the Lord had allowed them to prevail over Israel. Israel was so overwhelmed by the war machine of Jabin and Sisera that they had to cry out to the Lord. As the passage suggests, after they had walked out of God's hand into the hand of their enemy, they found themselves without a place to stand. The Israelites came to Deborah for judgment. The Hebrew wording has led many commentators to assume that Deborah was known as a judge in the legal sense. However, the story emphasizes her role as God's spokesperson by calling her a prophetess and emphasizing the command for Barak that she received from the Lord. The Lord not only called Barak to lead the people of Israel against Jabin, but promised to accomplish the task for him. Barak hesitated at the task given to him. Even with 10,000 men in his army, the Canaanite force was clearly superior. Barak was not the first nor last leader God chose for Israel who hesitated to obey. Deborah's promise to go with Barak at this place in the story is astounding because it comes at the point when God normally promises his presence with the leader he is sending. It seems best to understand the promise of her presence as the promise of God's presence, given to help Barak in his weakness. God has repeatedly shown that he is willing to accommodate the weakness of his chosen instruments. Nevertheless, Barak should have known that God had promised to drive out the Canaanites or the Israelites if only they were faithful to continue to fight. Deborah's displeasure with Barak's hesitation is obvious in her prediction that Barak will not gain glory on this mission, in a touch of beautiful irony, since he has refused to go unless a woman accompanies him. A yet unnamed and unknown woman will gain the glory. The implication is that the Canaanite army was vast, several times the size of Barak's force. God made it a point that he only called for a force of 10,000 against a technologically superior force, and he won. So here is our lesson. Like the Israelites, Christians engaged in spiritual warfare can sometimes follow a cycle of apostasy, oppression, repentance, and deliverance. The cycle occurs when Christians value their own strength and capabilities over dependence on God. Christian leadership begins with a call, a sense that God has a specific role or task for each Christian to accomplish. God prepared Barak for his battle with Sisera and raised him up to be a general. Similarly, he prepares each believer to accomplish specific tasks. What role has God prepared you for? The call originates with God, and confidence to accomplish the task begins in us. We grow in confidence by making time to meditate on the Bible's promises, even just by repeating them over and over to ourselves.